In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Today I am going to talk about aspiration. Aspiration. I'm going to talk about aspiration in English. Okay, aspiration in English, I'm going to continue from page 192. Okay, this part of page 92. Okay, the last paragraph of page 192. So let's go and see page 192. Okay, it's page 192, and below the page there's one thing that I'm gonna share with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the bottom, it is said something like this. Though it is difficult to hear, for reason explained in the next chapter, well, the initial sounds in the words pet differs phonetically from the second sound in the word spit. I'm just repeating. There are two words here, pet and spit. Pet, line 2, spit, line 3. Are they different phonetically? We say yes. They are different. Why? Because there are, look at my hands, my fingers. There are two types of pairs in English. There are two types of pairs in English. One is line 2, like pet. The other is line 3, spit. Okay? So when I add this s to the beginning of pet, the result is there is another kind of pa here. This is interesting, especially when we consider that, well, your Arab students, and Arab students especially, do not have pa. So what if there are two types of pairs in English that you want to produce? Okay, I'm going to talk about these two types of pairs. Why? Because you are going to be teachers of English and you have to pronounce English with very, very good, sounding English. Okay, you want to be similar to native speakers. Okay, you want to be native like. Now, let us see what is the difference. I'm just repeating it once more. The first one is pet, line 2. Okay, this is not line 2. And let us go to line 3 and find the other. This other one is line 3, spit. Okay, now back. There are two types. Remember that native speakers of English, native speakers of Arabic do not have the sound p. Okay? For example, when they want to say Pepsi, they say Bipsy. When they want to say Pepsi, they say Bipsy. Or when they want to say Portugal, they say Burtaqal. Well, in Farsi, it is actually Burtaqal. There's a brand of car actually made in France. It is Peugeot. But they actually, native speakers of Arabic have to say something. They say actually something like Bijo. Okay? Now, this shows the importance of aspiration, as I am gonna talk about. There are two types of pairs in English: aspirated, unaspirated. Aspirated, unaspirated. What is aspiration? Aspiration is something like this. Let me take one piece of paper for you to see what we mean by aspiration. Okay, I cut one piece of paper in front of me. When I say pie, you can actually see that there is something like blowing out some air from your mouth. Okay? But when I say spy, spy, there is no aspiration. Okay? Let us come back to these two examples. Okay? You remember it was on line 2. Say, look at me. When I say pet, 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 there's aspiration. But when I say sweat, 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 no aspiration. So this is important for you to know that there are two types of pairs. Fortunately, one type is easy for you to pronounce, and the other type is easy for Farsi speakers to pronounce. So we share with you something. We do not have to pronounce one sound, while Arabs are not able to pronounce the other. Well, let's see. For Farsi speakers, it is easy to say pet, pet, pet. But it is difficult to pronounce the word svet, 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 the second type. Why? Because in Farsi the p is aspirated like this, like this. Look, p, p, pet, pet. But when you say something like a p in English, your pairs actually sound like this third line. It is svet, svet, svet. So, I say, in Farsi we have one type. In Arabic we have another one. So, but in English we have got two different types, type 1 and type 2. This is important. Okay? With the one we have aspiration. With Farsi has got aspiration. Arabic has got no aspiration. Okay? So when you want to say something like the English pronunciation, you have to have the two types at the same time. Okay? Let us go to the next page and let us go and find the examples there. Okay. Aspirated, unaspirated. You just go to page 193 and there's a list of words here. Okay? Line 1 is pool, line 2 is spool, line 1 is pool, and to the right is swool. To the left we have tail, and to the right we have stale. To the left we have kale, and to the right we have scale. Okay, you can easily see these three words here. Okay, so it's like this: pool, spool, tail, stale, kale, scale. Let us go to the right side and see. I'm gonna, in fact, do without the S. Okay, so pool, spool, tail, stale, kale, scale. Okay, remember, look at the pronunciation. Whenever there is something like s before petake, we say that this p is actually unaspirated, like Arab students. Okay, but back here, when there is no s to the beginning, we say that there is no aspiration, like pool, aspirate. Oh, there is aspiration. There is aspiration. Excuse me for that. So it is aspirated. Pool. Okay, I'm gonna show it with this piece of paper once more. Okay, I say pool, 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 tail, 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 tail. Okay, and now kale, kale, kale. But to the right, there is no movement like Arab students. Look, spool, spool, stale, stale, scale, scale. So there are two types of pairs, tears and cas in English. Aspirated, unaspirated. There are so 6 types as you see here, okay? And this is the case with all other words, like for example, tell, stale. Tell, aspirated. Stale, no aspiration. No aspiration. Okay? I give you one more example. You remember? I said pie, aspirated. Spy, no aspiration. No aspiration. Okay? And I'll say kel, like Farsi, aspirated. English, well, Arabic says something like scale. What was that? Kill and scale. Scale. Okay? So remember, there is a case like aspirated, unaspirated, pair, tear, cares in English. We want to, in fact, pronounce these according to the way they are. Well, for your exercise, go and send these 6 words: pool, spool, tail, stale, and kale, and scale for me. There must be 6 of them, okay? So again, you say my name is blah 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 blah, and these are the pronunciation of aspirated, unaspirated sounds in English, okay? So you say pool, spool, tail, stale, kale, and scale. It's like that. I am looking forward to listening to you according to aspiration. You have to have 2 types of pairs, tas and cas. Thank you very much.